discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, this video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. All you need to do is go to audibletrial.com/bgunlocked. The link is in the description below, and now enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm doing a no run-through review for Empires of the North, the Roman Banners expansion. Now, this is the second expansion to Empires of the North that's starting to feature more clans and stuff into the actual core game. The first one was the Japanese faction, or the Japanese clans, whatever they're going to be called in this game. So if you want to know what I thought of that, definitely go check that out. But here I'm going to be talking about the two factions, which are the Trahana Clan and the Flavian Clan, and kind of how they incorporate their new styles into the core game. And I gotta say, these factions are awesome. Like, they are so unique and like different from the actual other clans that came in the core game. Unlike kind of the Japanese faction, which had one of the factions that was similar to one that was already there, these two are radically different from anything that's already been introduced, which is awesome. But what I can also say is that if you have played Imperial Settlers, then you are going to realize some of the different themes of these two, similar to what some of the factions in that game brought. So let's go ahead and start with the Trahana Clan, which it says here, of marching legionnaires. So basically what they're all about, from the way I play them, is that they are very, very, very resource heavy. Like, they're going to have a lot of cards in their like repertoire that are going to allow them to constantly be harvesting their resources. A lot of their cards are garden upgrades or building upgrades for their, harvesting locations. They're harvesting cards, so that whenever you are going to harvest, you're going to be getting a bunch of different types. Like, I guess depending on where you put them. But like, they have a card called Minerva's Blessing, which is about, okay, we'll spend like food equal to the number of food cards you have in your empire to be able to harvest one resource from each of the up to 5 different buildings that you have. They have one that lets you harvest a resource that from a building that has an upgrade, and they have multiples of those. So what makes them different, besides just the resource heavy, is the fact that how they build cards, if you're just building them straight from your hand, is that they cost a resource equal to the number of types of buildings you already have out, including the one you're about to build. So for example, if you have a food building and you already have 3 out, you're going to need to spend 4 food to bring it out. Of course, you can always construct it for free, but sometimes you can't do that. But what makes them really interesting is the fact that because of that, like, a lot of the cards are like, okay, spend food to be able to do this action and get this much. Like, one of theirs is called Souvenirs. That's like, spend stone equal to the number of stone buildings you have in your empire and get 2 points for each stone that you've spent. And there's no limit. So where a lot of other factions have caps on how much they can do, like, okay, you get a point for each whatever card in your hand. I don't know if that's a real thing, but it's like max of 3 or something. So it's like, okay, well, I have 5 cards in my hand, but I can only get a max of 3. They do not have that. They have 2 cards in their deck called Roman, I think it's Roman Crossroads, where it's like, you have to explore to play it, and you get a point equal to the number of the most locations you have. So whenever I played it, I had 5 food buildings out. So it's like, okay, that's 5 points. And there were 2 of those. I had 2 of them in my hand. So I explored both times and got 10 points out of that. So they're kind of a slow build, and you have to very much manage your resources or be able to get a lot of gold, because if you don't, then you're not going to be doing a whole lot. If you're like, oh man, I didn't think that I was going to need this much stone to be able to get anything out of these cards, then you're going to be hurting, and you're going to be spending a lot of your turns going and harvesting to be able to actually capitalize on the cards that you have. But thankfully, they thought of a way to balance that, because of the fact that you do have cards that let you extra harvest. Besides of just your actual normal pawn tokens to be able to go and do the action yourself, you have cards that let you do that as actions. So the Trahana Clan were extremely fun. Between the two, because I just played both of them, I actually scored the higher amount of points with the Trahana Clan of 75. So, and I'll explain how many points I got with the other one. But 75 points is not horrible. Granted, by the end of the game, I had no resources, but I had 13 gold because they also have ways of being able to get a lot of gold. Not very sale heavy, not very sale or conquer heavy. But, I mean, granted, you can always just do that if you want to. So that's my thoughts on the Trahana Clan. Now, the Flavian Clan, they are going to be the closest to an Imperial Settler clan that has been out yet, because their whole thing are foundations, which if you play Imperial Settlers, you build foundations. In fact, I believe there was a specific clan that's centered around that. It was either it wasn't the Atlanteans. It was either the Aztecs or it was the Amazons. The Amazons were the ones that were about putting down face-down buildings and using those to be able to build better buildings. Flavian Clan is similar to that. Not exactly like that, but they're also really unique and really cool because what they do is on the back of their deck, they have two building types. They have like a Cyclops type and an Army type, basically two different icons. And those come in, so you use your deck as foundations, so you just place these face down, and a lot of your other cards have requirements for you to have a certain number of foundations and of armies to be able to build them. And that's really interesting because you have to be able to decide, okay, well, do I want to be drawing these cards into my hand or use them as foundations? And it's not so difficult to actually get these cards out. One has like a 5 of a Cyclops. You need 5. But there are cards that you can build that are face up that have those icons as well, so you don't just have to rely on having 5 foundations out. So whenever you look at that, if you need to build a thing with 5 Cyclopses, it's like, okay, well, I only have 3. Well, the good news is that 3 counts towards your 5, and then you can spend those foundations to make up for the difference. So if you have 3, you need 5. You have 3, spend 2. That makes up for the difference. So now you have 5, and then you can build it. That was super interesting because whereas the Trahana Clan, you have to manage all the resources, the Flavian Clan, you have to manage the buildings like a lot more. And then they have a lot of really ramp abilities too in terms of points because they, of course, focuses on the foundations. Like one is, okay, spend an Army Foundation and a Cyclops Foundation and get 3 points. And there's multiples of those. And they are really interesting because they are also very sale heavy. Hey, you get a point if you put an axe on it, then you get a point. Or, spend this to sale. If you put an axe on it, then you gain a point. And then you have Legion cards that you can spend people to be able to get axes. So that's a engine you can try and go for. What they also do is they're not very focused around food. In fact, I don't think there's any types of food in their deck. So if you're harvesting wood and you're harvesting stone, and those are going to be the main things you're doing. There's also cards that allow you to get more foundations out instead of having to harvest. You have a construction site card that you harvest two cards from the top of your deck. But what's interesting about them more is that there are ways for you to draw and choose what foundation you kind of want to build. So there's a specific card for that. Draw 2, keep 1, put the other as a foundation. So if you draw, you can get one of the other. But other than that, there is some luck with them, because if you really need some Cyclops cards and all you're drawing and placing are Army, well, that is something you have to keep in mind with them. It's unfortunate that is even a slight possibility. I personally haven't I didn't have any issues with that really, because there are some ways to mitigate it and other ways to kind of cycle through your deck that's really not a problem. In fact, there's even more cards that it's like, hey, whenever you construct for this construct phase, you can ignore requirements. So if you're not getting one type, then you can just play that card and be like, okay, well, I don't even need to worry about it, so I can just build this. If I had to... What's weird, though, is the Trahana Clan and the Trahana was a difficulty 7 and the Flavian was a difficulty 8. And that might be the extra... Whoa, excuse me. That might be the extra, bump, is the randomness of the types of foundations that you can get. But when playing them, both of them, I found that the Flavian Clan for me was actually a little bit more difficult because of the resource management, of the fact that you had to keep track of, okay, well, I need to constantly be getting this type to be able to do my abilities. The Flavian Clan was very free-flowing. Okay, here's more foundations. What also makes them interesting is at the end of the game, that if you have every pair of foundation you have is a point, which is really good. So, really loved both of these. The Flavian Clan, I actually scored 51 points, but I ramped up quicker. The Trahana Clan, I was getting a lot of points consistently throughout the game, and by the time I hit 25, I was able to also exceed that amount of points, like in that round, to be able to allow me to get to 75. I think I was at 41 or something by the time the actual round ended, then end game scoring. But the Flavian Clan, I think I went from like 10 to 25 or 10 to 30 in like one round, just because the people I was playing, they all passed, so I was able to just knock off the engine. So the thing about that makes Empires of the North so great is the fact that of the engine building, like you have that ability, you start off small, and by the end of it, you're just like, okay, gonna do this action, boom, 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 boom. Oh, I got 70 points. That's pretty awesome. So if I had to pick my favorite between the two, this one is interesting because unlike the Japanese faction, there was for me a clear, better faction with those two. These ones were so good and dramatically changed the way the game is played, which is what's awesome about this, is the fact that whereas the Japanese faction had one that was like, oh, this is pretty much like the Bankers, just slightly different. Here, I can't think of a clan that came in the core game that was similar to one of these. I'm sure there's one. Maybe the the cute one, the one, they were also kind of resource heavy, but I don't feel like it was anything like the Trahana Clan. Oh, it also says here, Flavian Clan of prudent architects. Yeah, I mean, makes sense because they were all about the stone and wood instead of the marching legionnaires. So, if I had to pick one, I think I like... Man, they're so close. They are so close in just how good they both were. I think I like the Flavian Clan just a little bit more because I really like Imperial Settlers, and I like how it also feels like I'm playing Imperial Settlers with the foundations, but also, you know, in the world of Empires of the North. But man, I scored better with the Trahana Clan by almost 25 points. So, I don't know. Kat liked the Trahana Clan more than the Flavian Clan, even though she also did better with the Flavian Clan. I don't know. These ones are really good. Like, unlike the other expansion, this one I would definitely say you should go out and get. If you're thinking, okay, I have empires, which one should I get, Japanese or Roman? Get the Roman. The Romans are so cool and also give you that taste of Imperial Settlers. Unlike the Japanese one, which I figured would have done something at least similar, using their workers to be able to, like to buff their their locations, but it is what it is. So Empires of the North is a fantastic expansion. Yeah, I mean, so on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably going to give it, I think I'm going to give it a 9 for an expansion. I really liked this one. I thought that they were both just phenomenal, very fun to play, very innovative with kind of the way that you can actually, combo off and actually play these factions. So yeah, I think that this is almost a must expansion to go out and get. If you like Empires of the North, these are going to drastically change how your game is played. So that's my thoughts on the Roman Banners expansion for Empires of the North. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.